Get a sense of what is happening at the second investment conference currently underway in Sandton. Arabile, a very good afternoon to you once again. It certainly has been a very busy day. Plans have been outlined, commitments have been made. Take us through what happened since this morning.
Yeah, good afternoon, Balesa. Certainly, as you said, very, very busy indeed. We started off the day with a welcome address by the President, as my colleague there, Mzwandile Mbeje, did, of course, make note of the sentiment from President Cyril Ramaphosa just regarding South Africa's difficulties, the state of South Africa's economy, but also knowing that there is indeed hope. There certainly is a picture that can be fixed, that can certainly be propped up with the right kind of investment, the right kind of reforms that he plans to certainly institute, that he says need to be put in order to cultivate an economy that is right and ripe and also raring to go. So certainly the question now becomes just what happens and how much money has been sort of put forward. So that becomes point number one. Whereas point number two then becomes about implementation and ensuring that those pledges come to the fore and certainly aid everyday South Africans as well. We then got a sentiment as well a little bit earlier on just with regards to a number of pledges, the likes of MTN putting in around 50 billion rand over the next 5 years as well when it comes to infrastructure development, the likes of SABC as well putting through some funding. We also then got a bit of funding as well from a motor company saying that they will decide to put in an electro or hybrid vehicle, shall we say, across 4 different plants out in Durban. We did get multitudes of pledges then as well as companies look to perhaps continue their investment in South Africa. 1.4 billion odd as well from the likes of Discovery being put forward here. Plus minus around 200 billion is what we've estimated being put together for now. We are expected to find a final figure from President Cyril Ramaphosa before we head off to the dinner or the gala dinner this evening, which does kick off at around 6:30. We'll give you that as and when it happens as well. So it certainly has been a long and busy day. We then broke up into a few plenary sessions as well, quite a few speaking about the 4th industrial revolution, agro-processing as well, certainly formed part of the discussion points there, just how to develop Africa's most industrialized economy beyond the current growth levels, which sit far, far below that 1%. Balesa.
All right, so there will be that gala dinner taking place in a short while, but what is expected to happen tomorrow?
Yeah, so tomorrow they certainly head off to Soweto, UJ campus in Soweto to be exact, where perhaps a whole lot more around entrepreneurship begins to be the conversation and is what will be dealt with. Of course, the entrepreneurship journey in South Africa is one where we even saw the build-up of a small business development minister, which was aimed at trying to boost, trying to encourage and trying to develop an institution, a mindset among South Africans to ensure that their development is based not only then on the corporate and government structures, but certainly on garnering a kind of environment where even the entrepreneurs are able to succeed. So that will be the half day spent out in UJ then in Soweto, that is, at the UJ Soweto campus here in Johannesburg, Soweto, as I made note of. The President Cyril Ramaphosa will indeed be there as well, and perhaps will offer a final word with regards to the investment pledges and what exactly has come out of this conference, and he will close it out perhaps with some closing words as well. So it's still a busy one, a massive day and a half still left to go in order to complete what has been the second South Africa investment conference here at the Sandton Convention Centre.
Now, Arabile, talking about the president, he was once again very firm this morning in assuring the investors, both domestic and international investors, to say, come invest in South Africa. The environment is very conducive. But what sense are you getting from the delegates when you're walking on the ground there? What's the mood like? What sense are you getting?
Difficulties certainly remain. It is a tough environment, not only for South Africa, but for the whole world. Growth is subdued across most of the emerging market nations, as well as developed markets who are certainly feeling the pinch. That trade among African nations will certainly be very important. Those are the key messages being made right now. That trade among the African states is certainly one of the key elements. Of course, having signed not so long ago that African Continental Free trade agreement. That seems to be a message that is pulled through across the day as Africans seem to try and find a way to mitigate, to generate, to try and find a way and meander through what is certainly a difficult trading environment, finding the best ways to perhaps get products across to other countries too. How difficult it has been? Well, one can certainly tell by the growth of most African nations how things have dwindled and continue to head perhaps in a lower trajectory, that it certainly has not been easy. How it fares from here on in, though, is going to be the difficult part. And I think that is why the stern word then from President Cyril Ramaphosa was indeed necessary this morning to say that it is time. Now is certainly the time. 0.5% when it comes to growth for South Africa for 2019. Eskom with a debt structure of around 450 billion rand and ever growing, of course. We do have unemployment at 29.1%, the highest on record effectively. And we continue to have debt to GDP rising to around 70% odd, if not more, in the next 2 to 3 years. So the picture now is not about whether we can actually garner just the investments, but whether we can get things done to change the scenario and be able to get even more investment for future purposes.
Well, I suppose that's a big question there, Arabile. We'll leave it at that for now. Many thanks there to our SABC News reporter, Arabile Gumede, live from the Sandton Convention Center, attending the second South Africa Investment Conference for us. As Arabile said, that tomorrow the delegates will be going to the University of Johannesburg's Soweto campus. The president will also be there and will give you the latest as and when.